Gambling has never been a fair game. It is a meticulously engineered machine designed to crush wealth, rationality, and dignity of anyone daring to step in. The sparkling lights, sweet invitations, and short-term wins are nothing more than velvet-wrapped nooses, ready to tighten without warning. No matter how rich, smart, or persistent you are, once you sit at the table, you have signed your own death warrant. Today's story not only exposes surface tricks, but also leads you deep into the brutal core of the gambling world, where survival belongs only to those who stay outside its reach. Now let's peel away the glamorous layers and expose the deadly traps hidden behind every single bet. Why gambling always guarantees the house's victory. Gambling is not a fair game. It is meticulously designed to ensure that in the long run, the house always wins and the players always lose. Every game inside a casino embeds a built-in advantage, a fixed percentage that leans toward the house. Even if you win occasionally, the overall trend remains against you. Each bet, each round, silently deducts a share of your money through invisible mechanisms. Nobody can override this principle. The system is not rigged openly. It is mathematically structured to drain players slowly but inevitably over time. The longer you stay, the more you lose. Even games perceived as fair, like Baccarat, involve hidden commissions. For instance, just a 5% fee on every banker bet is enough to eliminate your long-term chances of winning. Games like roulette or slots are even more ruthless, with odds subtly adjusted to precision. Casinos do not need to cheat blatantly, because the probability structure itself is the noose around every player's neck. Every spin, every roll, every card drawn is another brick laid in the slow, methodical dismantling of your wallet, disguised as entertainment or thrilling chances. The real danger lies in the illusion. Players believe they are participating in a fair battle. Small, orchestrated wins are injected strategically, like addictive doses, to strengthen the delusion that you can win. In reality, statistically speaking, if you play long enough, you are guaranteed to lose. No exceptions. The casino does not aim to strip you bare in one swoop. It aims to erode you gradually, draining your money, hope, and dignity, while you mistakenly believe you are just one step away from turning the tables. One common myth is that smart, strategic play can overcome the house advantage. This is a fatal misunderstanding. No matter how clever your strategy, it cannot beat the immutable mathematics embedded in the games. You might win in the short term through luck, but if you keep playing, you will inevitably return everything and more. Gambling is like a colossal machine, silently calculating how much it will extract from you over time. No amount of intelligence, patience, or experience can reverse this pre-engineered outcome. The house is not in a hurry to strip you clean. They patiently bleed you out, luring you with small wins to make you lower your guard. That is why many gamblers, even after losing heavily, still think, "Next time, I'll win it back." The alternating pattern of reward and punishment conditions players to stay longer, to keep betting, to keep hoping. While you are trapped in your emotional cycles, the casino silently tightens its grip around your life and wallet, ensuring your downfall is just a matter of time. Another brutal truth: the house does not fear you winning occasionally. In fact, they encourage it. They are happy for you to win some early rounds because winners are more likely to return, to bet bigger, and, ultimately, to lose everything. They do not need to beat you today or tomorrow. They only need you to keep playing. Small victories are nothing but invitations for prolonged battles you are destined to lose. Your short-term happiness is the bait leading you deeper into inevitable long-term collapse. Beyond probability, casinos deploy psychological tactics to trap you. Clocks are removed, windows are absent, lighting is manipulated, and ambient sounds mimic constant celebrations. You lose track of time and space, absorbed completely into the environment. When you can no longer sense time passing, your emotional defenses crumble. Without awareness, you stay longer, bet more recklessly, and accept losses that you would never tolerate in your normal, rational life. By the time realization dawns, you are already too deep. In short, the house does not win through cheating. It wins through a flawless operational structure. From probability manipulation to psychological conditioning, everything inside a casino is engineered to make sure you lose. The longer you stay, the more inevitable your loss becomes. No one can escape this reality. The only true victory over gambling is never to start playing. That is not advice. That is survival law carved into the very foundation of how the gambling world operates. The as long as I breathe, I can recover mentality, the sweet trap that destroys gamblers. In the gambling world, a deadly mindset prevails. As long as I breathe, I can recover. This is the root cause that drags countless people from hope into despair. Instead of stopping and accepting losses, gamblers plunge into a dangerous loop. The more they lose, the more they bet. They refuse to admit defeat. They believe that just a little more effort, a little more persistence will turn the tide. In reality, each attempt to recover is just another step into a deeper pit. Every additional bet only tightens the noose around their future. The belief in recovery does not come from reason, but from panic and the fear of loss. When people lose money, their brains trigger primal survival instincts: fight or flee. But in a casino, fleeing is not an option. Only fight remains, meaning more betting, more desperate gambling. This is when rationality gets discarded, leaving behind gamblers acting on pure impulse. And this is exactly the moment the house patiently waits for, knowing that desperation guarantees profit, while illusions of control quietly vanish. The most dangerous part is that small wins during desperate recoveries strengthen the gambler's delusion that recovery is real. They do not realize that these wins are only the visible tip of the iceberg. Beneath it lies a statistical certainty of eventual defeat. Every lucky escape simply reinforces their false belief that victory is just around the corner. In truth, each small win is just a delay tactic, a subtle bait keeping them longer at the table, setting them up for a much harsher downfall. The cruel truth is that luck in gambling has no memory. Just because you have lost 10 times does not mean you are due for a win. Yet gamblers cling to this myth. They believe that after a series of losses, a series of wins must follow. It is a fatal misunderstanding. Probability does not compensate anyone. Every new game remains independent, brutal, and fair. Fair only to the house. The more gamblers believe in overdue luck, the bigger their bets, and the closer they march toward financial and emotional destruction. At the core of this destructive mindset lies a strange addiction. Addiction to hope. Not addiction to winning, but to the mere possibility that things can still be salvaged. Even when odds are bleak, even when reason screams to stop, gamblers cling to a sliver of hope like a drowning man clings to a bubble. They are no longer betting to win, they are betting to maintain the illusion that redemption is still possible. But each continued bet only digs their grave deeper, leaving less and less left to save. An inevitable consequence of this mindset is debt. When personal funds dry up, gamblers do not stop. They borrow, they mortgage assets, they accept outrageous interest rates to keep betting. It starts with small loans, grows to tens of thousands, then to millions. They believe that one big win will repay everything. But that big win never comes. Every loan taken is another nail in the coffin. Every extension of credit is another rope binding them tighter to a fate of ruin. Casinos understand the as long as I breathe, I can recover psychology deeply. They do not need to persuade players to continue. Once trapped in this mentality, players willingly keep betting, keep borrowing, keep offering themselves up. The casino just sits back and watches the inevitable unfold. No need for scams or force. As long as gamblers stay at the table, their downfall is guaranteed. The house profits not from players winning or losing a single game, but from their refusal to accept defeat and leave. The death of a gambler does not happen in a single devastating loss. It happens in thousands of small, desperate choices. The refusal to stop, the blind hope of recovery, the reckless final bets. As long as I breathe, I can recover is not a battle cry. It is a death sentence disguised as courage. It feeds false hope, kills rational thought, and destroys lives inch by inch. Once reason dies, everything else, money, relationships, dignity, falls in rapid succession, leaving only ashes where a future once existed. The 4 stages of Corruptible. From ordinary person to gambling addict. The downfall of a gambler does not happen overnight. It creeps in silently, step by step, through 4 brutal stages: vigilance, downfall, compensation, and total loss. Each stage marks a further slip into ruin. Each step takes them farther from normal life. Understanding this progression is the only way to recognize and break the cycle before it is too late. Because once you step deep enough into this path, The chance to turn back becomes smaller than flipping a coin 10 times and getting heads each time. The first stage is vigilance. When people first enter the casino, they are cautious. They bet small, they treat gambling as harmless entertainment. Clear boundaries still exist in their minds between winning and losing, between playing and addiction. Some even set strict loss limits for themselves. However, they do not realize that a single lucky win, an unexpected surge of fortune, is enough to start cracking those boundaries. Like the first fracture on an iceberg, disaster begins invisibly, long before the full collapse. The next stage is downfall. After initial wins, gamblers begin to nurture the illusion that they can consistently make money from the casino. They start betting bigger, staying longer, visiting more frequently. The fake confidence built on early wins makes them lower their guard. They believe they are smarter than the house, that they can outwit a system designed to drain every player. In this stage, the seeds of disaster are sown under the bright lights and hollow cheers of small victories. Then comes the compensation stage. This is when the first losses strike. Initially, it may only be a few million or a few tens of millions. But because they have tasted easy wins before, they believe they can recover quickly. Instead of pausing to reflect or withdrawing, they double down. They borrow, mortgage assets, and continue gambling in desperation. Each loss fuels the delusion that the next win is just around the corner. Every additional wager only tightens the trap that will eventually snap shut. The final stage is total loss. This is when the gambler loses everything: money, assets, dignity, and sometimes even life itself. At this point, they are no longer gambling to win. They are gambling because they have no other option left. The sick belief that they can still recover has embedded itself too deeply. They bet with everything they have left: future hopes, borrowed money, the last fragments of self-worth. And when everything collapses, they are left broken, isolated, and unable to comprehend how they got there. The cruelest part of this journey is that at each stage, gamblers believe they are still in control. During vigilance, they think they are just playing for fun. During downfall, they think they know their limits. During compensation, they think they are just one win away. During total loss, they believe there's still a chance. This self-deception is the engine that keeps them marching forward toward ruin. Only when everything is gone do they realize they never had any control at all. Casinos deeply understand this process of self-destruction. They do not need to force anyone. They design every experience to gently guide players from stage to stage. Small wins, sweet hospitality, VIP perks, all crafted to usher players deeper into the abyss. By the time a gambler reaches total loss, the casino has already collected its profit many times over. Players are not losing because they are unlucky. They are losing because they are following a perfectly engineered path of psychological manipulation. Recognizing these 4 stages is key to understanding a brutal truth. No one is immune to gambling addiction. Confidence, intelligence, rationality, all are worthless once you step onto this path. There is no strong enough willpower to resist if you let yourself go too far. The only sure way not to be destroyed is to stay completely away from the start. Do not test yourself. Do not believe you are the exception. In gambling, survival belongs only to those who never sit down at the table in the first place. The strategy of planting hope: why winning sometimes is more dangerous than losing. One of the most sophisticated tactics used by casinos is the strategy of planting hope. It is not losses but unexpected wins that create the strongest addiction. When a player wins, especially wins big early, they immediately form a dangerous illusion. I can do this. They fail to realize that the win was part of a carefully crafted psychological setup. Early wins are not rewards. They are bait. Once hope is planted, the player steps deeper into the trap willingly, believing they can master a game engineered for their defeat. Early victories dissolve caution. Instead of treating gambling as random entertainment, winners begin to see it as a legitimate way to make money. Once this belief takes root, players automatically escalate. Bigger bets, longer sessions, higher risks. The trap is not in losing immediately. It is in winning just enough to keep chasing. A small win is not a triumph. It is a poisoned hook. What appears to be a lucky start is actually the first step toward inevitable disaster, disguised by the sweetness of momentary success. The cruelty lies in how winning distorts perception. One win makes you feel smart, capable, lucky. You believe you are seeing patterns, understanding the game, mastering your fate. But the truth is brutal. Gambling has no memory. Every round is independent, governed only by mathematical odds that favor the house. No amount of skill or luck can overturn the built-in advantage against you. The more confident you feel after winning, the closer you drift to catastrophic losses, masked as just one more lucky streak. Casinos expertly exploit this need for hope. Result boards, winning streak displays, and hot tables are all tools to feed the illusion. Players are seduced into thinking trends exist, patterns can be spotted, luck can be ridden like a wave. But every so-called trend is random noise. Every perceived pattern is a mirage. Casinos do not manipulate results, they manipulate perception. And that manipulation is enough to keep players trapped indefinitely, pouring money into a system rigged to eventually consume it all. In psychology, this is called the illusion of control. After winning, players believe they can predict outcomes, spot trends, and beat the game. They stop attributing success to randomness and start attributing it to their own skills. This delusion is deadly. It makes players overconfident, reckless, and unable to recognize the inevitable collapse ahead. Every win strengthens the belief that they have figured it out, while in reality, they are being gently led to deeper, heavier losses. The danger is not in losing once. It is in winning just enough to dare another round, and another, and another. Each win plants a new copy of hope, a stronger belief in the next big one. Over time, these small victories build an entire mental fortress of false confidence. When loss comes as it must, the gambler refuses to walk away. They believe it is temporary. They chase harder, bet bigger, lose faster, and they fall harder than those who never tasted victory at all. Not everyone loses immediately upon entering a casino. Some win big the first few times, but instead of walking away, they return, emboldened. They raise their bets, they double down. After all, if they won once, why not again? But the house is patient. It knows that no player wins forever. Time and probability will do their work. One bad night, one prolonged losing streak, and all previous gains and much more are wiped out. The player who once celebrated becomes just another cautionary tale. Winning in gambling is not the beginning of success. It is the beginning of downfall. A wise person is not the one who wins often, but the one who knows when to stop, even after winning. Sadly, almost no one can stop after winning big. The satisfaction, the thrill, the urge to double the reward overwhelm all rationality. Thus, from a proud victor, the player quietly transitions into a desperate loser. All because they believed winning meant they had conquered the game. In reality, winning was the bait all along. From wealthy to penniless, the true price of a single misstep into gambling. In the gambling world, there is no such thing as immunity from loss. It does not matter how wealthy you are or how high your status is. Once you engage in gambling, you are betting your entire future. People who once controlled billions can lose everything within months or even days. Gambling shows no mercy. It is cold, calculated, and indiscriminate. In fact, the wealthier you are, the harder the fall. Your assets, your reputation, your confidence, they can all be shattered in the blink of an eye when you fall into the abyss of gambling. The root of downfall is not a lack of money. It is the endless greed amplified by early wins. Those with substantial assets fall into the trap of believing they can handle the risk. They bet bigger, thinking that even if they lose, they can afford to recover. But this is the deadliest illusion. Once gambling addiction takes hold, wealth is no longer a shield. It becomes fuel for self-destruction. The more money you have, the deeper and faster you sink when you cannot stop chasing losses. Typical victims are those who experience big wins early on. After tasting easy success, they abandon stable careers and dive fully into gambling, believing they have found a shortcut to wealth. No more hard work, no more slow savings, just a few bets and fortunes seem within reach. But the price for chasing this dream is catastrophic. In the blink of an eye, years of hard-earned wealth vanish. What once took decades to build crumbles in a handful of reckless nights, fueled by delusion. Once gamblers start losing, a devastating self-destruction sequence is triggered. They do not cut their losses. They refuse to admit defeat. Instead, they borrow, mortgage properties, and scramble for funds to recover. Each new loan tightens the noose. The deeper the loss, the bigger the bets. What began as entertainment spirals into desperation. Assets, savings, even homes and businesses, everything becomes collateral in a frantic, hopeless quest to undo the irreversible. Every step only accelerates the fall. The losses extend beyond money. When financial collapse strikes, gamblers lose dignity, the trust of family and friends, and even their sense of self. Lies pile up to hide mounting debts. Shame eats away at self-esteem. Desperation isolates them. What was once a proud and successful individual becomes a hollow shell, drowning in regret and self-loathing. By the time they realize the magnitude of their downfall, relationships are broken, opportunities are lost, and the light in their eyes has long since dimmed. Worse still, gambling does not just destroy individuals. It tears apart families. Parents are burdened with crushing debts. Children lose their future security. Friends and colleagues turn away. Society distances itself. One bad decision can drag countless innocent lives into the pit. That is why gambling is ranked alongside drugs and prostitution as one of the 3 most destructive social evils. Its impact is not limited to the gambler. It spreads like a disease, devastating everything and everyone connected to them. Some think that paying off debts will fix everything. But the psychological scars gambling leaves behind are not so easily healed. Those who once tasted fast money find it hard to return to normal work. The gap between former fantasies and harsh reality feels unbearable. Even after clearing debts, many relapse into gambling, still chasing the high of past victories. Memories of easy wins linger like ghosts, whispering that redemption is just one more bet away, until the cycle repeats, often even more brutally. The ultimate truth must be faced. A single misstep into gambling costs more than money. It costs identity, honor, future, and often life itself. No one is exempt. No intelligence, wealth, or willpower can outsmart a system designed to guarantee loss. One wrong turn can destroy an entire life, and there is never a guarantee that you will stop before it is too late. The only way to protect yourself is to stay far away from the very beginning. The illusion of luxury in casinos and the price of delusion. A casino is not just a place for gambling. It is an entire universe meticulously crafted to imprison minds and souls. The dazzling lights, endless red carpets, soothing music, and luxurious services are all designed to build a false paradise. Players lose touch with reality, swept into a whirlpool of endless indulgence, where money flows away like water, and rational thought is lulled to sleep by illusions of power and victory. Behind every lavish detail lies a well-oiled machine, engineered to seduce and destroy those who dare to believe they are special. From free luxury suites to gourmet meals to first-class flights and even private helicopters, casinos offer everything to valued customers. But there is no such thing as a free lunch. Every lavish service is a velvet-covered hook. The more you enjoy, the more you owe without realizing it. These perks are designed to pull you back, to keep you playing longer, betting bigger. Casinos know one simple truth. If you stay, they will eventually own everything you have. Another subtle manipulation lies in how casinos erase time awareness. No clocks, no windows, no natural light. Everything glows in a perpetual, artificial daylight. Players lose all sense of time, trapped in an endless loop of betting, winning, losing, chasing. When time ceases to exist, self-control disintegrates. You no longer know when to stop. Without the ticking reminder of passing hours, you stay, you bet, and you lose, deeper and deeper, without even realizing how much life you have already thrown away. The glamorous atmosphere of casinos is not just for aesthetics. It creates the illusion that you are living at the pinnacle of life, that you are someone special. Being treated like royalty makes players forget they are simply prey. A single win, a night of partying, a bottle of expensive wine, these are not gifts. They are bribes. They are the velvet ropes leading you quietly to financial execution. Every free champagne toast hides another nail in the coffin of your future. Another insidious weapon is the network of gambling brokers. They do not just drive you around in luxury cars and arrange lavish accommodations. They also offer quick loans when you are broke. At first, they seem like generous friends. But once you owe too much, the mask falls off. Those loans are traps, the interest rates monstrous, the consequences brutal. What started as hospitality transforms into a life sentence. You thought you were gambling for fun. In truth, you were walking straight into a preset, invisible cage. The spending trap extends beyond the casino itself. Nearby areas are filled with luxury malls, fine dining, and lavish nightclubs, all orbiting the casino like moths around a flame. After losing at the tables, people wander into these places to numb the pain. They keep spending what little they have left, thinking they are reclaiming a sense of control. But every purchase, every indulgence, only speeds up the total collapse. The casino ecosystem ensures that no penny escapes once it enters their gravitational pull. Casinos operate not by forcing players, but by giving the illusion of freedom. You choose to enter. You choose to bet. You choose to borrow. You believe you are making free choices. In truth, every step has been carefully engineered, every door meticulously placed to guide you deeper into loss. Every congratulation, every free drink, every smile is part of a silent machinery designed to harvest your wealth, your sanity, and eventually, your soul. The true cost of indulging in this false world is not just financial, it is existential. Players leave not just broke, but hollow, stripped of ambition, trust, and dignity. Behind the glittering facade lies a monstrous machine built to grind human dreams into dust. Those who once walked in proud and confident stumble out, lost and broken. And by the time they see through the illusion, it is often far too late to salvage anything meaningful. The collapse of work ethic, when people stop believing in effort and trust only in luck. Gambling does not just strip away money, it annihilates something even more vital, the value of hard work. Once a person wins quick money from a lucky bet, their faith in steady effort begins to crumble. Why work tirelessly for years when a few minutes at the table can deliver fortunes? Gradually, labor loses its meaning. The dream of slow, steady achievement is replaced by the hunger for instant riches. From that moment, gamblers no longer believe in effort, persistence, or patience. They only believe in one thing: luck and the next big win. When gambling corrupts the mind, normal jobs seem unbearably tedious. Working a full month for a modest paycheck feels meaningless compared to the thrill of quick, massive wins. The slow accumulation of wealth through effort is mocked by the false memory of easy success. Discontent grows. Ordinary life feels stifling. Slowly but surely, gamblers lose the ability to endure hard work. They see every hour spent on real labor as a waste, while one big bet could supposedly solve everything instantly. Losing faith in work leads to a complete collapse of financial ethics. Gamblers become reckless with money, spending impulsively, losing respect for every dollar earned. Many refuse to work at all, rejecting any path requiring discipline and patience. To them, life is no longer about building. It is about striking it rich through gambling. They lose the ability to appreciate small gains, prudent saving, or responsible investment. Life becomes a series of desperate bets instead of a journey of meaningful achievements. Another devastating consequence is the destruction of resilience. Ordinary people accept that failure is part of growth. But gamblers conditioned by quick wins cannot tolerate setbacks. Every loss feels unbearable. Instead of learning, they panic and double down. Their threshold for pain lowers dramatically. They either chase harder or collapse entirely. Without the ability to process failure rationally, they cannot build anything lasting. Their financial and emotional structures crumble at the first serious blow. Gambling also distorts the perception of time. Ordinary workers know that achievement takes years of effort, but gamblers see time as irrelevant. They believe fortunes can be made in hours, that one lucky night can replace a lifetime of dedication. One sleepless binge in a casino seems acceptable if it might deliver millions. This warped sense of time destroys planning, patience, and long-term thinking. It traps players in a cycle of impulsive, short-term desperation, unable to build any meaningful future. The destruction does not stop with the gambler. Those around them suffer too. Family, friends, colleagues, all can become unwilling participants in the downward spiral. Borrowing, lying, manipulating. Gamblers do whatever it takes to find their next stake. They no longer respect others' labor or sacrifices. Every relationship becomes transactional. People become mere resources to exploit in the endless, futile chase for redemption. The gambler's personal collapse inevitably pulls down everyone within reach. A sinister mentality emerges, the mentality of trading everything for one more shot at glory. dignity, loyalty, even physical health, all become bargaining chips in the gambler's mind. "If I just win once, everything will be fine," they whisper to themselves. But every compromise digs the hole deeper. Each lost value makes recovery harder. Eventually, the gambler is left as an empty shell, someone who has mortgaged their future for a fantasy that never materialized. Gambling does not merely rob individuals of money. It robs them of the work ethic that underpins civilized society. One broken person is a tragedy. Millions form a social crisis. A nation where effort is scorned and luck is idolized cannot sustain itself. That is why gambling is not simply a personal vice. It is a societal disease, and the only cure is to never let it take root in the first place. Protect your work ethic, protect your dignity, and you protect your life's true foundation. Behind the casino, the network of brokers, loans, and hidden debt traps. When stepping into the gambling world, players face not only unfavorable odds but also a sophisticated network of brokers and hidden loan schemes. New friends appear, offering assistance and luxury. Yet behind their kindness lurk invisible traps. Once players are hooked, high-interest loans start to pile up, tightening the noose around their necks. This is not an accident. It is an integral part of the vast machinery designed to strip players of everything they have. The smiling faces are simply the mask covering ruthless predation. Gambling brokers are not merely agents, they are psychological hunters. They know exactly when to encourage players to borrow more, to bet bigger, and to trust blindly. They do not need to force anyone. Desperation and greed do the work. Once a gambler accepts the first loan, the trap is set. No paperwork, no protection. The player's soul becomes collateral. These brokers master the art of timing, offering just enough to make players believe salvation is possible, while ensuring their downfall is inevitable. Casino loans are never transparent. There are no legal protections, no fair terms. Once you agree, the money appears instantly, but at horrific costs. Interest rates soar to 3 to 5% per month, sometimes higher. Miss a payment, and the consequences escalate quickly from intimidation to violence. Many gamblers borrow tens of millions, convinced they can win it back. But victory never comes. Each new loan deepens the pit. What starts as a financial problem soon mutates into a life-destroying nightmare, from which there is no easy escape. The underground credit system in casinos does not target small-time gamblers alone. It targets the rich and powerful too. The bigger your assets, the larger the loans they are willing to offer, and the harder you fall. Business owners, executives, celebrities, all have fallen prey. A few bad nights, a few desperate loans, and entire fortunes built over decades are wiped out. Pride keeps them betting. Fear keeps them silent. And the network patiently reels them in, knowing that no matter how big the fish, eventually it will drown. To legitimize their operations, brokers weave themselves into the casino's VIP ecosystem. They provide limousine service, 5-star suites, and extravagant entertainment. Everything feels seamless, luxurious, professional. Players, intoxicated by their own sense of importance, lower their guard. When money runs out, the brokers step forward, ever helpful, offering quick cash to keep the fun going. By the time the players realize they have been trapped, it is already too late. Every amenity was just bait on a carefully set hook. Even for those who do not visit in person, the web extends its reach. Casinos offer phone-based betting services. Just install an app, call in your bets, and funds move instantly. Alongside comes the shadowy credit system. Verbal promises replace formal agreements. If you win, you cash out easily. If you lose and cannot pay, the consequences are brutal. Behind the friendly voice on the other end of the line are enforcers ready to ensure repayment by any means necessary. It is a system designed for quiet, efficient ruin. The most devastating aspect is that gamblers rarely notice the trap tightening. It starts small, a minor loan to cover a small loss. Then another and another. Each time, they believe they're making a temporary compromise. By the time they realize the accumulated debt has spiraled far beyond their ability to repay. At that point, there is no negotiating, no forgiveness, only surrender. The player is no longer a customer. They are a captive asset to be squeezed dry, slowly and methodically. Understanding the hidden credit network behind casinos is essential for survival. Never believe that you can manage the risks. Never believe that borrowing to win back losses is a smart move. Every loan is another thread weaving you into a web of destruction. In gambling, there are no lifelines, only traps disguised as second chances. The only way to avoid becoming prey is to refuse to play the game altogether. True freedom is not winning a lucky bet. It is walking away before the first chip ever falls onto the table. The illusion of control, why the rules of Baccarat are psychological traps. In the gambling world, Baccarat is revered by many as a fair and predictable game. But the harsh reality is this: those so-called rules exist only in the minds of players. Baccarat is meticulously designed to create the illusion of control, making you believe you can predict outcomes and master the game. In reality, each hand is an independent event, entirely random, unaffected by past results. No amount of pattern recognition or superstition can alter the odds set firmly against you. The house always wins over time. The illusion of control tricks players into believing that if they analyze trends deeply enough, they will discover a hidden pattern. A series of banker wins, a losing streak for player. Gamblers read meaning into these random occurrences and adjust their bets accordingly. But every hand is a reset. Past results have no influence on the future. Every belief in streaks, patterns, or do wins is a fabrication of human psychology, a desperate attempt to impose order on randomness. Casinos masterfully exploit this psychological flaw. They plaster walls with result boards, trend charts, and player tracking systems. These tools are not there to help you win. They exist to reinforce the illusion that you can predict the next outcome. By encouraging you to analyze meaningless data, casinos subtly lure you into staying longer, betting bigger, and ultimately losing more. They do not need to manipulate outcomes. They only need to manipulate your perception. Every so-called winning strategy in Baccarat, whether it is martingale, trend chasing, or table hopping, is built on the false belief that patterns exist. In the short term, some strategies may seem to work, creating dangerous overconfidence. But in the long term, the house edge always asserts itself. No method can overcome the built-in advantage favoring the casino. Every strategy merely delays the inevitable, making the eventual collapse even more painful and devastating. Another subtle trap lies in the concept of pseudo-randomness. While outcomes are random, they often cluster in ways that seem to form patterns. Winning streaks, losing streaks, odd results, all occur naturally by chance. But the human brain is wired to seek meaning in chaos. This cognitive bias convinces gamblers that they can outsmart randomness, that they can read the table. In truth, they are chasing phantoms. Every decision based on these illusions tightens the casino's grip. A classic example of the illusion of control is betting on pairs in Baccarat. The odds of hitting a pair are extremely low, but one lucky hit cements a gambler's belief in their ability to predict rare outcomes. From then on, they keep chasing that high, pouring money into nearly impossible bets. One brief success blinds them to the hundreds of failures that follow. Their strategy becomes a slow bleed, small, consistent losses punctuated by rare, meaningless wins that only feed the addiction further. The most brutal consequence of this illusion is the false hope it breeds. Gamblers cling to memories of past victories, believing another is just around the corner. Every loss is seen as a temporary setback, every near miss a sign of impending fortune. But the house edge remains unchanged. Each bet, each decision based on past outcomes only deepens the hole. Eventually, the gambler is trapped in an endless cycle of chasing, losing, and justifying until there's nothing left to lose. The only way to escape this trap is brutal honesty. There are no systems, there are no secrets, there is only a rigged structure designed for your defeat. Winning is not about mastering the game. Winning is about never playing. Walk away before you are seduced by the illusion. Protect your mind from fantasies of control. Because once you believe you can beat randomness, you have already lost. True wisdom is not learning to win at Baccarat. It is refusing to sit at the table at all. The life or death lesson. There is no victory in gambling. There is one lesson every gambler must eventually face. In the world of gambling, true victory does not exist. Any temporary win is merely an illusion, a sweet trap designed to lure you deeper into destruction. Players do not lose because they are bad or unlucky. They lose because the entire system is structured to drain them dry. You are not battling other players or fate. You are battling a machine engineered to win over time. Once you place your first bet, you are already fighting a losing war you cannot win. Gambling is not a shortcut to wealth. It is a taxation system for the naive disguised as entertainment. Every chip you wager is not a risk. It is a certainty that, over time, it will disappear into the casino's coffers. No strategy, no skill, no persistence can overcome the simple math that favors the house. Play long enough, and you will lose everything. It is not a matter of if, but when. Believing otherwise is not optimism. It is delusion fed by ignorance. Those who truly win in gambling are not players. They are the owners, the ones who built the house and rigged the rules. There are only two roles inside a casino: those who collect money and those who lose it. The player always occupies the latter role, no matter how intelligent or experienced they believe themselves to be. In gaming, emotions, efforts, and dreams are meaningless. Only the cold, mathematical certainty of your inevitable defeat remains. Another brutal truth: the more you chase losses, the deeper you fall. The belief that you can recover only accelerates your collapse. Every desperate bet you make to win it back digs your grave wider. Gamblers lose not because of one bad night, but because of thousands of small, reckless decisions fueled by panic and false hope. In gambling, stubbornness and pride are not virtues. They are death sentences carried out slowly, one lost chip at a time. The only way to win at gambling is not to gamble at all. This is not advice, it is survival law. If you never place a bet, you never risk losing your future, your dignity, or your soul. Stay outside the system and it cannot touch you. Walk through the glittering halls without ever sitting at a table, and you remain free. The first step onto the casino floor is the first step toward destruction. Refuse that step, and you save everything that truly matters. Gambling is not just a financial issue. It symbolizes a deeper human weakness, the thirst for shortcuts, the hunger for miracles without effort. But life does not reward shortcuts. It rewards perseverance, resilience, and honest toil. Every casino promises easy fortune, but what it delivers is slow, merciless ruin. Gambling does not offer you a way up. It offers you a gilded slide into despair. Believing otherwise is to gamble not just with money, but with your very existence. Those who have escaped gambling understand a harsh truth: money earned easily disappears just as easily. Only money built on hard work, integrity, and patience has the strength to endure. Fast money burns holes in your life. It creates illusions of invincibility, then strips you of everything. Real wealth, real success, comes not from chasing dreams of easy luck, but from building step by step, brick by brick, no matter how slow it seems. Gambling shortcuts only lead to dead ends. If you stand before gambling's door today, turn back. If you have already stepped in, run. If you are trapped inside, fight with everything you have to escape. There is no happy ending down this path. Only tears, loss, and regret await those who walk it. The sooner you see through the illusion, the more you can still save. Gambling offers no forgiveness. It only offers endless opportunities for annihilation. Save yourself before you become its next casualty. Gambling is not a game, nor a path to wealth. It is a meticulously engineered machine built to strip away assets, dignity, and even the soul of anyone who dares step in. From the dazzling lights to the brief moments of victory, everything is designed to entrap, deceive, and destroy. No one can win in a system where the rules are built against them. True victory is not winning a few lucky hands. It is refusing to play at all. Cherish your hard work, protect your clarity, and never gamble your future away. Life's true richness is not found at a casino table, but in the relentless effort, honor, and love that build a future worthy of pride and peace.